Yes.
Okay, so when
very
we started
sad
this podcast, we said this is going to be an upbeat show. So let's go for something upbeat.
Can I talk about leaf curling spiders, please?
Are leaf curling spiders upbeat?
Yes.
Okay, go for it, girlfriend.
Yes, they are super. They are Herculean.
Herculean in
Yes,
the upbeat
Herculean, and they're not very big. I mean, like they're certainly not. They're actually quite tiny little spiders. But you would have perhaps come across them recently.
I've got heaps in my garden.
Yeah.
So we're saying it very quickly. I want people to hear it clearly. What we are saying is leaf curling spiders.
Yes. So what you'll see is the leaf,
Yeah.
and not much the spider.
No, just some little limbs poking out the bottom sometimes if you approach very carefully.
Yes. So this is the leaf curling spiders are a dynamic bunch of spiders. They're wheel web weavers.
Say it again. Give it another.
Wheel web weavers. They're
Wheel
web
weavers.
So can you say it fast?
Is the wine starting to kick in? Are you thinking?
They make it a very elaborate wheel web. Well, so do a lot of spiders, you know. The Andrew Cross
Yes.
spiders do that. The garden spiders do that. I mean, there's a whole gamut of modern spiders.
Modern spiders.
Yes, really chic, modern, absolutely trendy spiders. But these guys do one thing remarkably different. They bring up a leaf from the ground.
How do they do that, Lou?
They do it with a pulley system
Right.
of their thread.
Uh-huh.
Everything about spiders is to do with thread, right? They've got spinnerets at the back. And the spinnerets at the back, if you look at them under a microscope, you can see them. They're spinning all the time silk. And they use silk for so many things. But the leaf curling spider, what they do is they first build their wheel web. They weave their wheel web. So that means slinging across a line of silk and then spinning the wheel. Having done that, they drop from the center down onto the ground and they choose a leaf. Not any old leaf. Has to be a leaf that can be curled up. Mm-hmm. Very often a longitudinal leaf is handy. Some gum leaves work really well. But on occasions, apparently, they will actually use even a piece of paper that's just left.
I've heard they'll even use a snail.
And even an empty snail shell. But a snail shell's comparatively heavy. So the pulley system is under a considerable strain. And they will attach the silk to it, and then they will pull it up into the web.
And we should say this is not a large spider, is it?
This is a tiny spider. I think it's about a centimetre long altogether.
From one leg end to another leg end, is that what you mean?
No, from one end, from the head
body,
to the
body part.
spinnerets, your
Right,
body
yeah.
parts. And so they need a sturdy leaf. They will choose it with care because it's going to have to weather all weathers up there in that wheel web. And then they will pull it up, put it in near the hub in the center, and then they will weave more silk inside to keep them nice and warm.
Insulation.
Insulation. And then they will tuck themselves in there and they will put their first set of legs out, maybe their second leg, attached to a number of threads around, and they will wait
Like
for
a
a
harpist.
tweak. And then they might catch a predator. So they're very careful. When they get a predator, it's not always a happy thing because you can sometimes
A predator or prey?
when you get,
When they catch.
Well, it's a good point. Prey, when they catch something, they can rush out to see what they've got. And if they have something like a bee, a bee's bigger than them. A bee has a sting. Mm-hmm. And so apparently people say they've watched them clambering round and round the bee that's struggling in the web, going, will I, won't I, will I, won't I? What do you think?
Have
Am
I
feeling
bitten off
brave
more
today?
than I can chew?
And sometimes they'll take on a bee, but mostly they might cut them out. So cut them out of the web if they don't think that like they can
Oh.
handle it. But if they can handle it, they use their third pair of legs, and then they roll the predator up in silk.
Uh-huh.
And they don't go round and round and round the prey. They roll the prey round and round and round.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So they're pretty smart little things. So you won't see them very often. You just see those legs. But I do think they're a dynamic, very clever sort of spider. They've taken it one step further in evolution to use the leaf. So,
Yes.
we argue about whether animals use tools and things. Well, this is pretty borderline for using a tool, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I think I agree.
I think so. So just the males, remember, are tiny actually. They're only about 5 millimeters. The
And they're
females are about
living
8.
in that leaf as well, aren't they?
Yes, they live in that leaf.
So the pair are actually,
Oh,
In the
no, I
leaf.
think only one.
I think that he's up at the top of the leaf and she's down at the bottom. That's
Oh,
what
do you
I
think?
read.
I don't know that male and female spiders are that cozy with one another.
We'll have to look into that again.
Yeah, I've not
And
heard
then-
that they live together in a leaf. Male spiders often get eaten by female spiders.
But yes, apparently
Flu's pointing to, what is it? Google.
Floss. That would be Floss, who is
Floss.
pointing
Floss.
to her nose.
Floss.
But we won't continue with that discussion. But I do think if she wants to, the two things that I learnt that I thought were interesting were that when she's ready to lay eggs, she actually creates a second.
Leaf nest. Yes, she does. And sometimes it's quite a distance away from the original one. And I'm
Yes.
just thinking, is that a means of keeping the eggs safe? She doesn't want her eggs there.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah,
Didn't explain
because
it.
after mating, the males die. So I
Yeah.
can't see them cohabitating.
Well, I'm just going to read my notes now because I
Oh,
found
all
the
right, read
spot.
your notes.
This species is unusual among orb-weaving spiders because males cohabit in the leaf retreat with both immature and mature females,
Right.
mating with the former, i.e. the immature females, after the female molts. So the minute that she appears, he's onto it. Male
that
spiders
does sound possible, doesn't
may
it?
take up residence nearby or in the same web as the often immature female. Mating takes place as soon as she has her final molt.
Right.
So there you go. But the other interesting thing that I thought was really cute was that the younger spiders start off practicing with much softer leaves.
Yeah.
And as they grow up, they increase the challenge by going with firmer, harder leaves. I thought that was so cute.
It is cute. I think the whole thing's brilliant. I think it's just brilliant.
Yeah, they're great. I said to Lou a few days ago when we were talking about this that when it was really hot in summer for a few days, I could see my leaf curling spiders hanging out the bottom of their well-insulated leaf because it was just too hot in there. But most of the time you just see their couple of legs poking out the bottom. Check them out in your garden. You'll see them around. They're quite cute once you know a little bit about them.